Honestly, I wanted to start off my hook dramatic so that I can, you know, create engagement and, keep retention. I don't really know how to go about with it. Like, most YouTubers that I see would go like, have you ever noticed how you'll get right up to the edge of your life? You ever notice how you'll get right up to the edge of the life that you say you want? And then suddenly, your mind becomes the seasoned, expert, undefeated lawyer. Like, it throws in those arguments. It's not the right time. I am not ready yet. What if I screw this up? What if people judge me? Don't you understand? Approved. Yeah. But there's a quieter reason that, that people don't usually talk about, okay? You are terrified of stepping into a version of yourself that you don't fully believe you deserve to be it yet. Because you will be. And your mind is determined to burn the whole opportunity to the ground. It is ready. It is ready to fight for the identity that it recognizes, to protect it with its life. So hold on to that thought. Hello, I'm Marisha. I am not a therapist or a guru or some expert in psychology. I am simply just someone who is curious about unraveling this world that I have stepped into. So, with that said, let's dive into it. So, let me just slow this down for a second, okay? Because this isn't really about ambition or motivation or whatever Instagram says you need. It's about the tiny and quiet acts of self-betrayals that you know that you got used to doing so young. Okay. These things don't just magically pop out of nowhere. It's something that's been instilled into us, from a young age. And now you don't even notice that you are doing it. You say that you want more confidence, but what are you doing? You never even try to put yourself in a room that requires you to be confident. You say that you want a relationship, but what do? You quietly sabotage the ones that get too close, or better yet, you ignore the green flags and go for the red flags because we're all so cliche. You say you want success, but when success walks towards you, walks up to you, and serenades you, you take a subtle step back, like, whoa, lady, calm down. But here's the uncomfortable truth, okay? And these are one of those internal like mirror moments, okay? You don't sabotage because you are weak. You are sabotaging because you are loyal. And I know loyalty is a good trait to have, but that's why they say you have to be careful where you place your loyalty to. You are loyal to the older version of you that has survived worse things, okay? It has gone through a lot of ordeals and it has deemed itself your protector. Even when, and even if, or even when your life does improve, your identity remains to stay in the past. And I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you felt it too, right? Or is it just me? I know it's not just me. We're serious right now. I'll tell you something that my dad used to say, okay? He said it so simple and so bluntly, like, as, it's like, it is what it is type of tone. What he said was, Your mind will always choose familiar misery over unfamiliar peace. And at the time, when I was younger, and he told me this, I was confused. I was like, "What the hell are you saying, old man?" But the older I got, the more that I realized just how very true what he was saying was. Because just because you grew up inside of it doesn't make the cage any less of a cage. And Carl Jung also said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Now, what I really think is happening here is that we underestimate how much our unconscious identity is still running the show behind the curtains. Let me give you an example from my own life, and I'm not going to give you some polished version like some rags to riches or whatever. Like, I was poor, and then this old man showed me. No, how am I going to talk about? There was a period where every time, like a period in my life, it hasn't been long since it passed, where every time something good happens, I get this itch, this really bad itch, this tension in my chest. And it's not from excitement or joy or relief that finally I have peace. Something good happened to me. No, it's more like my body was so suspicious of it. It didn't trust it. I was so suspicious that I would like expect something to go wrong. Like I was waiting for it to fall apart. And the thing is, like, when you expect something to happen, it usually happens. And then when it doesn't, you unconsciously fulfill your own expectations. And because I didn't know how to perceive good things, I naturally would talk myself out of them. I'd make up excuses. I'd convince myself that I wasn't ready for this or I didn't deserve this. I would find flaws where there weren't even any and just make up these invisible flaws. But it wasn't the dream that scared me. No, 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 no. I wasn't scared of my dream. It was the identity shift that the dream required. And there's this verse in Proverbs that hits different as you become an adult. And I said this in my last video. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not thinketh in his mind, not as he wishes, but as a man thinketh in his heart. As a man believe in his heart. And in my heart, my puny little heart, I didn't actually believe that I deserved the life that I wanted. And maybe you know this feeling too. Okay? I'm pretty sure a lot of us can relate to it. Well, let me share a quote with you, okay? I'm gonna a saying from James Clear. He said something that tied this all together for me. And he said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." And despite his name being clear, he wasn't exactly clear because there was something he missed to mention or detail on. And that is the fact that your systems are built by your identity. So if your identity says, "I am not worthy," your system is self-sabotage. If your identity says, "I am not capable," your system is postponing. And if your identity says something like, "I am not good enough," your system is a perfectionism. Because perfectionism guarantees that you never actually start. Now let's get into the darker psychology of this. Now that, you know, I got your brain rolling and your engine working, you probably think, you probably, think to yourself that you're talking yourself out of the life that you want because maybe you're scared of failure. Well, let me tell you, most people aren't actually scared of failure at all. They've failed 100 of times. They're very comfortable with failure, actually. They've been failing their whole lives. I can relate. What actually scares you is visibility. Imagine being seen that you're trying. It's not pretty. Being seen that you want something, wanting. Oh, this person is so greedy. Being seen, becoming someone that you are not yet. This person is an imposter, right? The visibility scares you because of these things, and there's a lot more. Because the truth is once you want something publicly, people can watch you lose it. Okay? Because once you try, you can no longer pretend that you never cared. Once you grow, people will expect the new version of you to stay consistent. And that is very terrifying. I haven't experienced the full force of this, but I'm already terrified, by the way, but I have seen a lot of, especially on social media, people who are very successful, people with lots of followers, people who, in the public eye, people expect them to keep this version that they have been presenting to be consistent, only for them to, crash and burn and disappoint everyone. And that in itself is very terrifying. I'm already terrified. And, there's a more honest layer to this, though. And most people don't admit this. You are not just scared of losing the dream, you are scared of losing the identity that has kept you safe for so long, that has been protecting you, that's been your guardian angel. You know how to survive as the underdog. You know how to handle disappointment. You know how to stay small because it's predictable. But stepping into the bigger version of you, that means letting go of the parts, like of some parts of you. It means letting them die, actually. The old beliefs, the coping mechanisms, the way that you make yourself invisible, and the old stories that you use to justify not trying. Let me quote one last person. Viktor Frankl, I think that was his name. Frankl. Viktor Frankl. He said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And sometimes, changing yourself feels more violent than staying stuck. And that's the part that no one really tells you about. The fact that growth isn't as peaceful as we thought it was. It's basically an ego death disguised as an opportunity. And your inner critic, you know, it's not trying to ruin your life. It's not trying to hold you from success. It's trying to protect the identity that you have always been. It's trying to protect its best friend, the person that it's been protecting for so long, from this new person, this absolute stranger that you're building. But your inner critic has to realize that it's basically an outdated security system that is constantly ringing alarms over things that aren't dangerous anymore. Let me leave you with one final, very uncomfortable truth. I hope it is uncomfortable, but let me know if it's not uncomfortable. You are not talking yourself out of the life that you want. You are talking yourself back into the life that you already know how to survive. You see, survival is a loud thing, and your safety is even louder. And your identity might actually be the loudest of the three. But your future, your dream, the version of you that you want to become, it's quiet. It whispers, it's subtle, it's fragile, it's easy to ignore, as a matter of fact. You really have to get still enough to hear it. And I know that you're tired of the whole loops, okay? We all are. We're tired of the self doubts. We're tired of the way that we shrink when we don't want to, the way that we are compelled to explain away our potential so you don't have to risk living for it. But if you've come this far in this video, first of all, let me say thank you. But if you've made it this far in this video, I think that you're ready. Ready to stop negotiating with the parts of you that were built from fear for survival. Ready to stop betraying yourself quietly and ready to become someone your past self wouldn't even recognize. Talk to me in the comments. Tell me which part of this hit you the most, hit you the hardest. Across the face, I hope. I actually really want to read them. It does matter to me what you guys think about these videos. And if you want more conversations like this, you know what to do. Just subscribe. Not for me, but so that you don't forget the version of you that you've been trying so hard to grow into. And, and if you made it this far in this video and you don't actually agree or you don't like the video, feel free to drop a crap emoji in the comments. I hate to say this to you, but bad press is good press. So see you in my next one.